Coming up on today's episode, going through a variety of topics. We're just going to be hanging out at the crib, talking sports, getting into MLP's latest uniform disaster. Where's Blake Snell going to go? He's still unsigned. We're going to talk some NBA, and of course NFL. Combine next week. A lot of teams going to be making some moves for the roster spots. All that and more is coming up. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Talk from the Crib. I'm your host, Tanner Christian. Coming up today's episode is just going to be about a variety of topics. Like I said, we're going to get into baseball, some NBA talk, and also the NFL. The Combine is just around the corner, and franchise tag is open. It's going to be open to about, March 4th, I think, when it ends. So we're going to see teams possibly place franchise tags on some players. And then, cutting salary. A lot of people over the cap, so some teams got some major moves to make going forward here. But remember, if you're new episodes are airing every Tuesday and Friday. It's available on all streaming platforms. So go check out the website at sportstalkfromthecrib.com. You can stream the podcast there too. And follow us on social media. We're at Feel the Heat Entertainment. That's Feel the Heat ENT. We're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and X. Go check us out and subscribe to those channels. It's my birthday weekend too, by the way. So I turned the big 3-5 here coming up on Monday. So big feeling a little bit older. But I'm happy this time around. I'm more content with the age thing and getting older. So pretty happy. And looking forward to having an exciting weekend and celebrating the birthday. So anyways, the first topic of the day, let's talk some MLB, man. Because these uniforms that they have had during the spring training. Spring training is here. Obviously, baseball season is about to get it going. And their uniforms, well, they're not very good. Players are complaining. They're saying this, they're see-through. The pants are see-through. And the uniforms just really aren't up to par. And baseball swears that it was the same ones that we started using last year. But players know. These obviously switched. That Nike Fanatics partnership now. They're doing the pants. And you can tell. The pictures are so bad and so revealing that they can't even relay the picture on the screen for the TV because it's too much. You can see it. Let's face it, you're seeing your junk down there. And that's kind of hilarious at the same time because you notice the quality in Nike and the Fanatics pairing has been gone down. Like I've gotten a jersey recently, a throwback jersey that they recently made, and I had to send it back because I was like, Fanatics, branding, NFL, okay, I get it. I liked a lot of Fanatics stuff, and over the course of these last couple of years, I've been kind of disliking it because of the material used. It seems too thin and rips easily, and like the tag sometimes in the back of the shirt would be see-through. Like I don't want to see the tag going through the back of the shirt. You never had this problem before. Now this professional league is having this issue, and it needs to be fixed because this is bad. Player tucks their shirt on, you see their shirt, and then they don't, you see their junk. I mean, I think that's a problem. It's freaking hilarious that it's come down to this, and all these people making these big moves in fashion and branding and all this stuff. It's like, why? If it was so great before, why are you trying to switch it? If it was fine before, why are you trying to switch? This is like teams, switching their logo or switching their name. That's been the same name for years and decades. And now we got to switch it, possibly change logos. Like Miami Dolphins, doesn't make sense to have that new logo. And everybody hates it. But it's a money grab thing, and the owners just don't care about that when it comes to fans. And people making these call for these pants and agreeing to have the Fanatic branded pants. This is what you get. You don't get that Mitchell and S like clothing where it says superior. Why can't Mitchell and S somehow get into the sports world. Like, because Nike, while it's great at times, it's also failed a lot to me when it comes to certain uniforms and being bland and this cheap feeling and, not lasting that long. So I think it's a big problem. But it's hilarious that, this is happening. Hopefully it gets fixed before the season starts. So anyways, on other baseball news, let's get into Blake Snell. He's still on sign. Where do you think he may go? So he's a reigning and a National League Cy Young winner. He's won 2 Cy Youngs in his career now. I mean, the only logical thing I can think of is like the Yankees. They made every other moves and whatnot, so I'm thinking the Yankees. Like, they got Brian Juan Soto, the payroll's going to be, who cares? It's New York, right? If they try to sign Blake Snell, their payroll may escalate into $400-something million on payroll this year. If it happens. So I expect Blake Snell to go to some kind of contender for this year, who it may be. It just seems like the Yankees are supposedly holding back, trying to offer him a big deal. I don't know why. But I really think Blake Snell may be a Yankee. I mean, as the Yankees seem to buy everybody else, they seem to get the marquee players coming off seasons, and whatnot. So why not Blake Snell as well? Unless he just goes to the Dodgers, the Giants. Like, who knows where Blake Snell's going to be going back to? But he's one of the few marquee pitchers that are still out there trying to get a deal done. And quite frankly, I think this one may linger a little bit and for him to get a deal. So we'll see what happens with that. It just seems like the Yankees are going to swoop in somehow and sign him. I just got that feeling about it. But hey, reigning National League Cy Young winner Blake Snell, still a free agent as we kick off spring training. Now let's switch over to the NFL. A salary cap has been officially announced. They are raising the cap by $30.6 million this year, which is going to be a record $255.4 million. So a lot of teams that really wanted that cap relief are going to get it now. Some teams that were over the cap before are now under the cap, so they'll be able to spend some money, maybe restructure some contracts, and get some free agents in. Some certain news coming out like Derek Carr. The Saints reworked his deal, converting a lot of his salary into his signing bonus. They're going to save like $18 million right there. The Saints are one of the worst teams was over the cap. Chargers still got to make some moves. They're way over the cap. And the Miami Dolphins, they've announced that they're going to cut Emmanuel Ogbah, who had 5 sacks for him last year. Remember, he signed that deal, I think it was like 2020. He led the team in sacks like that year in 2021. Then he got hurt. I think it was a triceps injury. And, came back, had an okay year. He was kind of invisible, actually, to be honest. You don't really notice him on the field. So they save a lot by cutting him. And they've also made Xavier Howard the long cornerback for the Miami Dolphins. Longest, he's going to have the longest tenure. He did, but now not anymore. That's what I meant to say. So he's getting a post-June 1st cut. Because if they cut him before June 1st, they're only saving like $4 million. And if you cut him after, he's saving an extra $20 million on top of that. So that's why Xavier Howard is going to be designated as a post-June 1st cut. And, we're going to see a lot more of that coming from, numerous teams around the league. We're just going to cut those big salaries. Like down the mess. And you only see trades happen because the combine is next week. So you're going to see some trades start happening, too, with some of these players for maybe some mid-range draft picks to try to shed that salary off their team. Like the Chargers, maybe Khalil Mack or Bosa or somebody's may be on the block. They may cut Mike Williams, wide receiver. There's some big names on that side that may happen. And of course, the franchise tag. It's going to be brought around a lot of, numerous teams. I don't think we're going to see a lot of players getting franchise tagged this year, though, because the numbers are just too insane. Like, you take defensive tackle Chris Jones, for example, in Kansas City. Franchise tag for him would be like, I think they come out as like $18 million. But under the circumstances, the way his deal's been from last time, I think it's almost like $30 million if you actually franchise tag him, maybe a little bit over. So that's something to really look at because sometimes, the franchise tag's done by position. and you may like there's certain circumstances with some veteran players with different deals they had in the past that makes that number go up. So, like I said, Chris Jones, you may see that number like, oh, franchise tag him. You know, it's not that bad for that caliber player, how impact it was, but in reality, it's really over $30 million if you do like him. Like, you could look at Kirk Cousins. Remember he had all those franchise tags when he was in Washington? It kept this rising, but that was because they kept, franchise tagging him. But if you have a certain extension contract in the NFL, and then you go the franchise tag, like Mike Evans is another good example of the wide receiver for the Buccaneers. His is like the same way. You may look at, oh, wow, that's kind of a bargain, 15, 16 million in a year for, Mike Evans. But then you look at it from hindsight, it goes almost like, I think it's like 28 million or something if he, actually gets the franchise tag on him. So that's why the Bucs made franchise tag their safety Antoine Winfield Jr. because it's only like, what is it, between 16 and 17, like 16.5 million. I'm not positive the exact numbers on that, but it's a cheaper option. Therefore, you could work out, an actual extension with your other players. Like, that's what they'll have to do with Mike Evans because you don't want to franchise tag him for that amount. And that's why the Chiefs may look to, try to sign Chris Jones to like maybe a 2-year extension or something. Because remember last year he held out until he got the rework deal. So that may be in the same case, better scenario for Kansas City to do that because they also may need to do that for the Darius Sneed. It'll be a cheaper option if you franchise tag him and try to work out an extension with Chris Jones. So that's just some examples to where, the franchise tag number is set for the position, but in reality, some of those veteran players are actually making way, way over that mark because of certain circumstances from previous contracts. So it's something to keep an eye on as we move forward into the new league year and really see it all happening. So something to keep in mind. And some other things I want to bring back up is like the running back position for the NFL. Remember last year was a big thing. They had a meeting. There were some rework deals like Saquon Barkley, Austin Eckler, Josh Jacobs. You had all these guys, rework the deals and play on that 1 year. It really didn't work out, put it that way. They only got an extra $1 million. So it really didn't work out. And now they're all free agents again. I tell you what, this running back market, I know teams are all about getting a running back in the middle of the draft, towards the end of the draft, cheaper option. Running backs don't really last. But I think this free agency crew is a good one. I mean, you got Josh Jacobs, free agent now. Saquon Barkley. You got Tony Pollard. Derrick Henry. Like, you got some options out there in the running back. And these guys are no slouches. These guys have had pretty damn good careers, man. Like, Derrick Henry's the oldest one. I think he's going to be turning, I think he's 30 now. He's going to be turning 31 during the season. But if you put some of these guys on a different team, I'm afraid. Honestly, I'm afraid. Like, what if the Chiefs sign one of these guys? The league's in trouble. What if the Ravens added Saquon or Josh Jacobs to, that offense? I think you're in trouble. Say the Cowboys. They had Tony Pollard. He didn't have he had kind of a quietly good year. Maybe not as dynamic as, a couple years ago when he took over for Zeke, when they were splitting carries, but man, he still is a damn good quarterback. Plus, he was coming off that broken leg injury. And Josh Jacobs, man, in Dallas, or Saquon there, like, you can't argue with that. Like, to me, Chargers, Derrick Henry, you got Greg Roman over there and Jim Harbaugh. They love to run the ball. Greg Roman did work in Baltimore. He led the league for 4 straight years when he was their offense coordinator. This is recent too. So I think these running backs, while they're not going to get great market value for what they've done, but they can really help one of these teams, say the Chargers, say the Ravens, Cowboys. You know, you could see them be really, really dynamic in other offenses. I would love to see like a Josh Jacobs and the Ravens. To me, is like a gold mine fit. I know some talk about Saquon, but the way Josh Jacobs runs, that's Baltimore all day. And so Derrick Henry as well. Imagine Derrick Henry there. Like Derrick Henry still has some left in the tank. He's not gonna be like he was a couple years ago, but behind that line and that kind of offense, like look out. I just think these running backs free agency class again. Austin Eckler is the only one I could really see that. I think he's hit his wall. I think he's hit that. It was pretty evident this year when the guy couldn't even get 3 yards a carry. And I know they had problems out there, but to me, it just looked like he lost a major step in the run game. But man, I tell you what, Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, Tony Pollard, Saquon, these running backs, wherever they sign, is going to bring electric volume to their team. I truly believe it. We didn't really see it too much in, last year with some of these other signings, but I mean, what can you say? I don't know. I think they're severely underrated in what they bring to their teams, man. It's the disrespectfulness to the running back position in the NFL now. It's just insane. It's bad. And let's try to big up these guys, because they got a lot left in the tank. Okay, now before we get out of here, we're going to do the NBA talk as well. We're going to talk about a lot of different, leagues here. We've got NBA, NFL, MLB. That's what we're doing today. Just hanging out, talking some sports, variety of the different topics. It's not going to be me ranting about the NBA All-Star weekend like we did last episode. And this, I want to talk about this, or Doc Rivers, being 3-7, taking over the Bucks, blaming this and that. Hey, I'm in the middle of the season, team's gotten worse, buddy. But anyways, I want to know something about this. Minnesota Timberwolves are their number 1 seed in the West. Anthony Edwards playing lights out this year. He's averaging over 26 a game. He's had numerous games, dropping over 30. Can they really keep this up over the Nuggets? OKC's number 2. They got Minnesota and OKC, 1-2 seed in the West. Who would have thought? That West is stacked. Because the Nuggets, reigning champs, man, I wouldn't count them out. We got the Lakers and the Warriors bowing out for the bottom half, that last seed. Of course, you got the Clippers that played, some pretty good ball as of late, heading into the All-Star game there. I think Dallas is improving. Getting a couple of big men to help with on the boards was really going to help out Kyrie and Luka. And, that West, man, do we really think the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to come out as a number 1 seed? Do we really think that? And I don't know, man. I just feel like if they get in the first round, they can be had. I know they're number 1. But I'm not counting out those Nuggets because I think the Nuggets are still the team to beat, especially out West. Celtics in the East, to me, is the favorite. That's been like that going into the year and, up to the All-Star break. I mean, it's how everybody's felt about it. But anyways, the West, who else we got? We got the Pelicans that play late. Of course, got the Suns. Kevin Durant, can he really do, what do you need? What do you set out to do? Win a championship without Curry and the boys out of the Warriors. So 39-16 is what the Timberwolves are great at home. 19-5. Conference are 27-8. Averaging 114, only letting up 106. They went 7 of 10 games. Here leading into the All-Star break. So be interested to see. How they're able to hold up there because only 2.5 games separate between them, the Oklahoma City, the Clippers, and the Nuggets. So something to keep an eye on. Can they do it? I really don't think so. I don't know if they're going to be holding on to number 1. I got the Nuggets still getting up there and getting that number 1 seed. Not counting the Joker out and whatnot. Jamal Murray, I think, is still hurt right now. But when he comes back, Nuggets going to be right back where they belong, number 1 seed. And I really believe that. I can't see Minnesota. Gobert, why they, in the Carl Anthony Towns, why they've had the best defensive team in the league. Their length does, cause other teams trouble. Number 1 defensive efficiency. They're, Rudy Gobert, I guess, could be up for a defensive player of the year again. I mean, it's kind of hard to say, but I don't know why it's just always considered him. I think he's just a tad bit overrated. Great player. He's just a tad bit overrated, but I just can't see them finishing number 1 now. I see them falling in number 2, possibly number 3. We'll see how it comes up. Anthony Edwards been balling, so we'll see if he can continue that in the second half. All right, that's going to do it for today's show. And thank you all for joining me here on Sports Talk from the Crib with your favorite sports host, Tanner Christian. Remember, new episodes are airing every Tuesday and Friday, and it's available on all streaming platforms, as well on the website at sportstalkfromthecrib.com. Be sure to follow us on social media at Philly Heat Entertainment. That's Philly Heat ENT. We're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and X. Hope you all have a great weekend. It's time to start the birthday celebration for me anyways. Y'all have a good one. It's y'all on Tuesday.